Halloween forever.
All right, Steve, I got one for you. I feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to pick up on this one, right? Why is Dracula a cheap date?
I don't know. Is it just because he sucks? Because I'm going to be mad if that's the punchline.
That would be a punchline for almost any Dracula joke because he sucks. So.
I know.
No,
just be so lazy.
Not far off. Because he eats next to nothing. Welcome, boys and girls, to a little fucking Minisode of Halloween's Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
Meg ain't here, guys. Don't wait. I do want to illustrate the very pure, real disappointment that Steve had in the one line to that joke. I feel like most of the time he's like, "Oh, you suck, you asshole." And this one, it was just like, it was very genuine. I felt it.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
It was hurt. A bad joke. It's a bad joke. I mean, most of the jokes are bad. That one was exceptionally bad. Really poor work. In any case, we had duo today for this whole mini-sode. Meg is gallivanting around Europe right now. I would imagine she's probably just neck deep in herring or something like that. I don't know what the fuck kind of nonsense she's up to, but she will not be joining us for this here mini. So we're going with a duo. However, we do have some exciting things to announce that include Meg in our next Showdown episode. But before we do all of that, maybe we talk about what we drinking. It's a little early in the day. This is a little earlier than we're typically recording. This is a Saturday around noon time. I, for one, have not jumped into the beers yet. Have you jumped into the beer, Steve?
I haven't, but I'm actually drinking beer adjacent.
Okay.
So we're talking about Renfield this week, and the movie theater the movie theater I went to, it's near the only place I can get a Sprecher Cherry Cola.
Okay.
So I picked some of that up after the show.
Where do you get a Sprecher Cherry Cola around here?
You get it. I don't want to tell people where it's at.
You think they're going to go buy it all up?
One, that. And two, it's not a place. I'm pretty sure by shopping there, I'm supporting some sort of anti-LGBT fucking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Rural King.
Oh, Rural King. Listen, I've been around the Rural King 2-3 times. I bought some clothes over there. It does feel like that's the vibe of Rural King, doesn't it?
There's no way, if Hobby Lobby is a fucking, front for the Christian right, there's no way Rural King isn't.
There's no way. And we're making some assumptions here, but it feels fairly safe that Rural King is the alt-right version of Home Depot almost, or something like that, or Schrader Horn, for those of you who are Western Pennsylvanians. I'll be honest with you. I do like to go into the Rural King. I mostly like to be in there because I like to shop places that smell like a chicken coop.
Yeah.
But they also just have shit you won't find anywhere else. I remember one time I had a situation where I needed, a propane burner for something, and something broke, and I had people come over and need a propane burner, and I'm calling around to no, Rural King, they got a whole damn stack of propane burners, cheap as hell too. So you can find, I had to get a raccoon cage, a big cage for a raccoon that was living under my pool. You know where you go? Go to Rural King, get a big old raccoon cage.
Look, they're a one-stop shop, but also probably donate their money to terrible things.
It feels like the type of place that would. Yeah, fair enough.
Are you the type of millennial or zennial who's really into Carhartt? They have Carhartt out the ass.
Yes, I've purchased an assortment of Carhartt there. Yeah, I will admit that.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the Sprecher Cherry Cola.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, one, Sprecher, they also are a brewery, but we don't like their beer.
Not really.
But they do make this cherry cola with the same kind of cherries that are in I can't remember it's the Belgian red.
Like Montmorency cherries?
Yeah.
Okay.
They use those same cherries as you find in the Belgian
like
red.
Door County. Door County.
Yeah.
I think they're Mont Morrissey, but they're from Door County, Wisconsin.
Yeah. But what's the brewery in Wisconsin? My brain just
New
fucking
Glarus.
New Glarus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the cherry cola version of their Belgian red.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Sprecher root beer is top notch. The cherry cola is great. They make a great cream soda. Just Sprecher, the pop is top notch. When I lived in Wisconsin, I was spoiled on the Sprecher root beers everywhere up there.
Mm-hmm.
But yours is even more interesting than me. I'm just drinking a good old cup of coffee, but I do have a new mug that I got at a thrift store. Not even at a thrift store. There's it is a thrift store, I suppose. It's like a consignment shop, I would say.
Oh, okay.
That popped up, and this is genius. There is a place that's one of those big, self-storage, businesses that have like a bunch of just cinder block buildings that, you just rent out and put your dead relative shit in it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of those near me. They took one of the little units, the one closest to the road, and turned it into a consignment shop that they're clearly just selling things that people abandoned from the units, which is fucking brilliant.
They skipped the step of storage wars and they said, wait, why sell it to other people when we can piece all this out ourselves?
That is clearly what's happening. And I love it about it. Yeah. Like weird windowless building, just made of cinder blocks. It's freezing cold in there, but they do have just like a bunch of weird shit. I bought because I need to own more of these. I bought here. I'll grab it. It's right here. I bought a parts missing turtle van.
Oh, sick!
Because my turtle van has a couple parts missing, so I bought this one for used parts, basically. Yeah, that's the dorkiest shit ever. But $2, come on, turtle van.
All right,
it's missing the door and all that, but that's not the part I need. I don't need the door. I need the little front thing with the little. Anyway, so yeah, I'm the kind of guy who buys extra turtle vans for spare parts. Anyway, but I've got this mug there that I really like, which is it says. It looks like a mug you would buy at speaking of weird all right businesses, what's the Cracker Barrel? It looks like something you'd buy at Cracker Barrel in like the kitschy department.
It does.
It's authentic. It is from a Hardee's restaurant in 1986. It does say on the bottom, stamped 1986 Hardee's. It's the Rise and Shine homemade Hardee's biscuits. But it is, like I said, it is actually like a real two-tone mug. You can feel the texture difference. And then it's from 1986, literally from a Hardee's. So untold number of murderous truckers probably drank out of this mug, which I can appreciate. But no beers for us yet today. It's early in the day. Actually, I was up very late last night until probably after 2, which is very late for me nowadays, watching the season premiere of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, I saw they did the one Fulci movie, Zombie. What was the second film they did?
It was The Beyond or From Beyond.
Oh, okay.
Whichever I always get the Fulci
Beyond,
one.
I believe, is the Fulci
Beyond
one.
And the Stuart Gordon movie, which I like way
Right.
more. Not the cool cosmic horror Lovecraftian Stuart Gordon movie, the Fulci one with the woman with the weird eyes.
Right.
They played that, which is good too. It's fine. It's not as fun as Zombie, but they went a little Fulci double feature last night, which was cool. And they had the guy who composed a lot of the music for Fulci on. They had Ian McCullough on. They had a whole bunch of people actually. Bobcat Goldthwait was on, and Danhausen from AEW was on, which I get a fucking kick out of that guy. I don't really watch AEW too much. I probably would like it if I got more into it, but he's such a fucking funny, weird character.
Yeah, he made his 'cause he got signed to AEW by doing that stuff on like the indies.
Yes.
So he just got so popular on his own that they couldn't not take him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel. That, he's very non-traditional, super gimmicky character, but he really sticks to it. He really plays it super well. He doesn't phone anything in. He's great. And he was on last night. So anyway, that was fun. So I was up late watching that, drinking beers and whatnot. So I haven't I'm still on the coffee today, but. Yeah, like Steve said, we're going to talk about Renfield 2023's brand new co-starring the great Nic Cage. Spoiler alert, he's the best part about the movie. But before we do that, we got a couple of other things we got to do here at the top of the show. First of all, let me remind you, if you want to participate in all of these weird showdown topics and suggestions and voting on what we talk about and those sorts of things, you should definitely follow us on the social medias at Halloween is Forever on Instagram and TikTok and mostly Instagram and Twitter, occasionally TikTok, and then we do post some stuff on Facebook too. But when we have topics for our showdown episodes, you can certainly propose topics, but you also vote on the topics that we pull off that big old spinny ass wheel every damn month of the year. For those of you who are catching up this month, we do have our topic for the May Showdown coming up here pretty damn quick. It's is that next week already? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming up real fast here for the month of May, which is Before They Were Stars. So this is on-screen talent. These are actors, actresses who maybe got their start in a genre film, or perhaps starred or had an not necessarily starred. I think we established it doesn't have to be the star of the movie, but you were in a some sort of genre horror film before you became some sort of big giant monster star. So. Interesting scenario here for May. Meg is not going to be joining us for the showdown episode. She is still going to be gallivanting around Europe, sucking blood, eating fermented fish, doing whatever the fuck she does over there. So we're going to have a guest co-host for the May Showdown episode, which is going to be our old friend Bigfoot Ben. If you recall, he was on, it's probably been at least a year ago now, to talk about, it was a Bigfoot movie. What was it? It was
Bigfoot the movie, wasn't it?
Oh, Bigfoot the movie, of course. Yeah. Locally produced, Pittsburgh's own Bigfoot the movie. But in this instance, he is going to be our first ever person that's going to slide in for the showdown episode. Now, Meg's fingerprints are all over this fucking scenario here. She decided that she was going to pick the movie, and then Ben had the choice to either, take her selection and defend it and talk about it, or he did have the option to choose his own. He decided to remain loyal to Meg, to really carry that flag, to die on that hill for her. And we all know Meg. She loves two things, right? She loves incest and she loves just creepy, potentially pedophiles as well. She always ends up stumbling into defending movies starring, directed by, or including strong subject matter around topics such as incest and pederasts and stuff like that. This time,
I mean, didn't she take Rosemary's Baby in a previous?
She literally only does this. It's like her favorite thing, and she always acts like, I didn't know. No, I think there's some sort of psychic connection with her and just fucking creeps that she always wants to talk about.
I just want to help the new audience, if there's anybody new listening, to build the character profile. We're not just saying this, but like she has a history of it. She's literally taken Rosemary's Baby in one of the showdowns.
The first movie she ever picked as a quote unquote punishment episode after she won the very first showdown episode we ever did, which is like 2 years ago almost, was the Strange Thing About the Johnsons, which was the student film from Ari Aster, which is literally 100% about incest.
Right.
And every movie since then has had some sort of weird pederastry or incest, uncomfortable themes associated with it. So this is 2 years of her doing this. So we're no longer surprised. But if you are new, this is her bag. So in that spirit, she selected the 2001 film by one shitbag, Mr. Victor Salva, the director, who is the tie to the weird pederasty and abusive asshole in this one, Jeepers Creepers. So a movie starring one Mr. Justin Long, of course, a very big star now, and he's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. Love him. I love him in this movie. But the director in this instance is a real piece of shit. But Ben has chosen, again, to die on that hill and defend Meg's honor or lack thereof to the death. So Ben is going to be defending Jeepers Creepers from 2001. They just remade Jeepers Creepers, didn't they? Like within the last few years or something?
Yeah, I think it actually came out last year. It's like Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Didn't see it.
Didn't see it. Yeah, kind of wrote off that franchise for obvious reasons, which is like, you could have that discussion. A lot of people talk about, okay, there's a lot of people work on that movie. There's, it's not all, it's not a singular thing coming from the mind of Victor Salva, but there's a lot of movies out there to watch, so right. I'll do other things. But in any case, Ben's gonna have to talk about that. Gonna have to defend it. I'm real interested in watching him squirm on that. But Steve and I still have to pick our movies.
Yeah.
And Steve, as the champ, you get to decide the order here in which. So I would assume you're going to pick yours and then make me follow that up.
Actually, no. I'm going to let you go because I found myself. I dug up way too many.
I have two. I have like 10. But I have one that I've decided to go with. But I do have like 9 backups basically.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
And then I will pick the appropriate weapon to defend.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. You sneaky son of a bitch. So this is how this goes. One more time, guys. On the Showdown episodes every month, early in the month, we choose this. We got this big old spinny wheel that's got a bunch of different potential showdown topics on it. We randomly select 3 from that wheel. All those ones on the wheel are either created by us, or a lot of them are suggested to us by our social media friends and listeners. So if you have any showdown topic themes or whatever, sometimes it's a subgenre, sometimes it's like this where it's kind of like a theme. Send them our way and we'll put them on the wheel, and then they'll get picked at some point. We get 3, then we put them on social medias for everyone to vote. And then once we have a topic, we each pick a movie associated with that topic. Then we talk about it on the Showdown episode on the first Monday of every month. We argue about it. Eventually we vote, and then somebody takes home that son of a bitch and championship belt for the fucking month. Steve did it last month, so that's why he's kind of dictating a lot of the orders and things like that. But with that being said, here is my pick for Before They Were Stars. I am picking a little movie. We've been on a bit of a 90s tear here. So I'm going to stick with the 90s, dead smack in the motherfucking middle of the 1990s. 1995. Any guesses yet?
Texas Chainsaw New Generation.
No. That movie blows. This is a movie.
Maybe you found something new in it that we don't know about.
No, it sucks. No, but that is a good shit, because that movie has like a shitload of stars in it. No, I am picking one co-starring one Mr. Ant-Man himself, Paul Rudd.
Oh, 6.
I am going Halloween. This is part 6, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995.
Okay.
This is a movie that was, for a lot of people, was one of their least favorite ones in the franchise for a long time. But we have discussed in the past, I'm a huge fan of Halloween and John Carpenter as a whole, but the entire Halloween franchise, good, bad, ugly. But I am very much a stereotypical fan of the Halloween franchise in that I change my opinion on the movies swings wildly over the years. I remember hating this movie, and in recent years have learned to love it. And now I say I'm stereotypical because that was the case with Halloween 3. I feel like Halloween 4 and 5 have kind of experienced that. Halloween H2O's experienced that. People go ups and downs all over them throughout the years, and I feel like Halloween 6 is experiencing this little bit of resurgence popularity in recent years, and I am right on that fucking bandwagon. So I'm going part 6, co-starring Mr. Paul Rudd.
Yeah, see, 6, the thing with the Halloween series, I feel like it's because there's always something worse that keeps getting introduced.
But yeah, the most recent one, I loved it too. And
well,
I
you
liked
loved
it a little bit at the beginning.
I still hate kills and ends. Yeah, I still hate kills and ends.
I went from it's okay to this is pretty good to it's my favorite movie in the franchise.
Right.
No, I'm exaggerating, but I do, like I said, I watch these movies a lot. This is the franchise that I've watched the most, and so my opinions about them do evolve over time. But yeah, they are always polarizing. And that's why I love this franchise so much. They're not afraid to take big swings. They're not afraid to piss everyone off. But ultimately, we're just a bunch of fucking simps. So we're going to come back around and like what you feed us eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't dislike 6. It's just, especially because it comes on the heel of 5, and 5 is I think 5 is the one I hate the most.
5's got to be the worst. I've over the years learned to enjoy it more, but I still maintain that it is the worst movie in the franchise, even just for the weird Keystone Cop music and but there are some parts in 5 that are fucking kind of fun when Michael has like the weird clown mask thing on and the daylight, he's fucking up that guy's car with the rake and stuff. It's shit. It's absolute shit. But but I kind of like it. All right, what's your pick, Steve?
All right, so yeah, I kind of wanted to tailor this pick to like what Jeepers Creepers is a movie of a certain type, and I wanted to see what you were going to go with, because I didn't want to, because I have like Phenomena on my list, and like I have the Vivitch on my list.
Yeah.
But like
that would be 3 very different movies.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like I feel like those 2 movies are so different from kind of the slashery films that you guys got going on.
Yeah.
That I might and I don't know what Ben's tastes are. So I don't want to stray too far and like bore him out with The Witch. Yeah. just so I could be like, I got Anna Taylor-Joy and she's Princess Peach now. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a movie from the early 2000s.
Okay.
And it is starring one Bradley Cooper.
Got it.
In a very early movie role for him. Definitely before he was famous.
Yes.
But I'm going to go with The Midnight Meat Train.
Yep. This was on my list. I watched this movie when it came out in, what was it, 2000? When I was in high school.
It had to be like, it's somewhere between 2003, 2005 that this came out.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2003 or 2004 because I think I saw it while I was in high school. I think I remember my buddy Dan and I going to see it.
It's actually 2008.
Oh, college, not high school. I'm sorry. Dan's my buddy. Yeah, Dan's my friend from college. When you're getting old when you confuse college and high school.
Yeah, right.
My buddy Dan and I went and saw that, I remember. And it's a fun one. It's I actually remember liking it okay when it came out. Then over the years, be like, oh, this movie's trash. And then watching it again, probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years. It was probably 2020. It was probably like COVID era where I watched it again and remember thinking like, oh, this is pretty fun. There's a lot of bad CGI blood, if I recall, but it's still fun. Yeah,
there's a good bit of bad CGI blood. But this is one of those movies I watched because like the director, Kitamura, was like he directed this movie called Versus back from early 2000. That was like just he was I guess kind of supposed to be similar to like a Takashi Miike.
Okay.
Just like the way people were pushing him back in the early 2000s of like, oh, if you like Miike, you'll also like this Kitamura guy. So like, yeah, he went on to
those comparisons.
Yeah. He went on to direct like a Godzilla movie and then directed, Midnight Meat Train. And then I think he has like a new movie coming out soon. So yeah. Yeah.
That'll be a fun one. Those are well, that's actually, I for some reason, I do think of like obviously more of a Jeepers Creepers, more of a rural story, whereas Midnight Meat Train, definitely an
very
urban story. So yeah, but I, for whatever reason, I kind of think of them a little bit in the same realm. I don't know why. Maybe just because it was, within the same decade. But in any case, that'll be a fun showdown. So just to recap, if you want to watch these movies this week before we talk about them next week, or if there's any of them you want to revisit, Bigfoot Benjamin himself is going to be defending Jeepers Creepers from 2001. The Before They Were Stars element there is obviously Justin Long. I will be talking about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers from 95 with one Mr. Paul Rudd. And then Steve's going to be talking about Midnight Meat Train from 2008 with Bradley Cooper. It's going to be a goddamn hunk fest over here. It's just fucking hunks on top of hunks on hunks on hunks. It's a damn old hunk sandwich out here. That'll be fun. So, all right, guys, let's get into the topic for this week. Now that we got some of that stuff out of the way, we are going to be talking about the newly released, currently in theaters, Renfield. From 2023, directed by Chris McKay. I had heard this name, but did not immediately recognize him. And then I looked it up and I was like, yeah, there's nothing on here that I really would have watched. But my kids have probably watched. I remember watching the original Lego movie, which he apparently edited, and then he directed the Lego Batman movie, which I did not watch in 2017. And then apparently the Tomorrow War just looks like a fucking made for Redbox movie, but with like A-list celebrities. I don't know. Didn't watch it. The only thing on here that I definitely have a tight frame of reference to is Robot Chicken, because I definitely watched a whole bunch of Robot Chicken in college.
Yeah.
So
you never watched Moral Oral though?
Oh my God. Did he do Moral Oral? I did not realize that. Yeah. I didn't scroll down far enough. Moral Oral is fantastic for a couple of reasons. It's a super, a subversive claymation show based on like, what's that old weird religious version
Davy and Goliath.
Davy and Goliath. But here's the reason that it's a really fucking weird, bizarre show. And like the last episode of that series is bonkers. So crazy, subversive, and bonkers. Yes. Okay. So that actually makes me I love Moral Oral. It was a fantastic show, but also that that show introduced me to the Dan Emery Mystery Band.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which they do the other people's tongue, or other guys' tongues have been in your mouth. I
think it introduced me to the Mountain Goats.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. The Mountain Goats was also one of the original like soundtracks in that.
Great soundtracks. Just a super way ahead of its time show. And really funny, really fucking dark, and absolutely worth a watch. So, well, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I didn't even realize that was the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these are the types of things he's known for, right? So this is a bit of a departure. At least from what I know. He directed a movie called 2 Weeks, 1 Year back in 2002, which I know nothing about. Titan Maximum was a show he directed. He's done a lot of TV series, and like, a claymation, stop motion animation is a big part of what he does as a director as well. So Renfield, I saw this last, was it Tuesday night in the theaters? I was out in beautiful Pottsgrove, Pennsylvania. I went out there. I was one of, I think there was like 5 or 6 people in the theater, so it was pretty empty. It was Tuesday night, obviously. It was like 80 degrees the day before, and then got chilly that day, and they just decided they weren't going to turn the heaters on in the fucking theater. And luckily I had like a long sleeve, like a thermal and a sweatshirt over it, and then just like sweatpants, whatever. It was like the 9 p.m. show on a Tuesday night, and it was fucking freezing. And for me to be cold, it's cold so much that I heard the 4 other people, there were 2 other pairs of people in the theater, and I heard multiple people go, Jesus Christ, it's cold in here. So it was a really weird experience. But when did you see it?
I just saw it yesterday on Friday. Freelancers hours. So I got up and I went at fucking like 10:50 in the morning.
You saw that bright and early
Hell
screening.
yeah. And then get out and go have lunch.
Yeah, there you go. I like doing that sometimes. But yeah, if I'm going to the movies by myself, for some reason I like to go to like the latest possible show because I like to walk out of the theater and everything is basically closed and you just get that weird, creepy, empty lobby.
Yeah, I get
feel. I love that for whatever reason. So yeah, a little bit about this, the cast of this movie. It is definitely pretty heavily billed, starring one Mr. Nicholas Cage, just another movie that reiterates how much of a fucking treasure Nic Cage is, but also another Nicholas Hoult, which is one of those people that I absolutely recognize immediately, but like I had to think about what I knew him from, which was Mad Max Fury Road. But like I haven't watched probably the last 94 X-Men movies I didn't watch. I did not watch Warm Bodies. I hadn't seen The Menu. Still haven't seen The Menu.
So like, you're missing out on that. I know,
but everyone says I just haven't got around to it yet. But he's in Deadpool. I've never saw a Deadpool movie. He's in a lot of these kind of like bigger plays, like small to large-ish roles in like I said, a lot of these like Marvel type movies and stuff like that. And they're just not really on my radar. I haven't saw fucking anything. I don't even know any of the Marvel movies I've seen in the last decade. So yeah, he's not really on my radar, but he's immediately recognizable because he's just so in the zeitgeist right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like I have seen the X-Men movies he was in, and obviously Mad Max. So like I've kind of become a bit of a fan of his, and then like in The Menu, he's fucking great as well. So yeah,
I've heard nothing but good things. I got to see that.
Yeah. So yeah, this film is he does a pretty decent job in this film as well. So it's not
Yeah, he's like I would say in this movie, the cast is what carries this movie. It is a flimsy as fuck script, I feel like, with a lot of just. It is very self-aware. I'll put it that way. It is dumb action. It's a dumb action movie with some gory horror elements, but the special effects, I mean, I guess some of the like action fighting is okay, but like the special effects as a whole are awful. They're really bad CGI for the most part. There was a couple that are okay, but like there is what really builds up to be an almost climactic type of scene where I should mention who else is in it. Awkwafina, who she plays Rebecca. What's the last name? Quincy. Officer Quincy. She's obviously a comedian. Ben Schwartz, fantastic improv comedian guy. He plays Teddy Lobo, kind of this kind of the fuck up kid of like a powerful crime family.
Yeah. I think he might be one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Oh yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
And also,
Ben Schwartz could read the fucking phone book. I would be laughing.
Also, I just want to point out on IMDb, his proper credit is Tedward Lobo.
I just saw that. It's Teddy is short for Tedward. That's 100% him. Like I feel like he's the one who injected that. He's hilarious. He's like I said, great comedic actor, improviser, comedian, stuff like that. The thing I love about him is no matter how big or how small the role is, he fucking just goes head first into it. And he's going to make it funny, but he's not going to, he doesn't have a huge ego as a performer because he's an improviser. So like you can't have a big ego as an improviser, I feel like, because you have grown up eating shit
right.
as an improviser so many times that you just like you just don't have an ego. And he doesn't come in and like try to undercut the lines or anything. Like he goes full bore. Also, he's really funny. So yeah, I mean that's the primary cast there. The woman, do you know how to say her name? Who plays Tedward's Teddy Lobo's
yeah, I
mom?
do not. She's an actress that I've seen
You'll
a lot.
Know her.
Yeah, and I think she isn't she big on The Expanse?
I don't know. I haven't watched it, but
she is. Yeah.
She has a very distinct, very deep, gravelly voice. She is very like you would know her immediately. I'm gonna try Shora Ajashlu. Boy, I might have butchered that, but she plays Bella Francesca Lobo.
Yeah,
Bella Francesca is such a funny name too.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's she's the the matriarch of the Lobo crime family. Anyway, so this is I'm not going to go through plot by plot point one because the movie's in the theaters right now, and I imagine some people are going to see it and don't necessarily. It's not like it's a 20-year-old movie that I want to spoil every element of the plot, but there'll be some spoilers here. Also, saw it in the movie theater. Always forget, kind of hard to take notes when you're sitting in the movie theater in the same way as when you're sitting on the couch. But listen, it's not the most complex plot in the entire world here. I mean, the general, well,
I was gonna say, it's funny that you just got done saying how you don't like watch Marvel movies or anything, and like this is literally just a Marvel movie.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, I have mixed feelings about this. The movie itself, I will say, kind of sucked.
Really?
I didn't love it. No, put me wrong. I liked it.
Okay.
I did enjoy it. I didn't walk away going, fuck, or anything like that. I was like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
But it's not good.
Oh, no. I don't think it's like amazing, piece.
And it's almost bad. It's borderline bad, but I liked all the people in it, which made me like it.
Yeah, there's it's bad and it's goofy, but like, I don't know. I just thought it was fun. Like, it's a fun distraction movie. It's not.
Yes. Yep.
You can take however you want to feel about like the character of Dracula and everything, and like what you think that does to the lore. But it's just like, it's literally once you just subscribe and let it wash over you as another silly superhero movie, then you're fine. It's just a silly superhero movie with extra violence.
I know. I thought it was going to be a little bit more horror tinged. I did not expect, I purposely went in, very blind. I did not expect that it was basically going to be like an action movie.
Right.
It went in an entirely different direction than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be a little bit weirder and like let Nic Cage do weird shit a little bit more. When he's on screen, he fucking steals the show, as he always does. With the cast that was in it though, I thought it was going to be a little bit more, I want to say polished. I just thought there was going to be like, I don't know, a little bit better script and like a little bit more surprises. It's extraordinarily predictable. You know what's going to happen. You know what all the characters are going to do. Like within, I feel like the first 15 minutes, there's no curveballs.
Yeah. See,
in my mind at all.
Yeah. No, there's no curve balls at all or anything like that. It's pretty straight up and down the middle. I actually got this. I actually got the director confused with Adam McKay.
Oh, the guy from from all the Will Ferrell movies and shit.
Yeah. So I was actually pretty solidly expecting just like dumb, stupid comedy out the box.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah, no, that would make sense. And no, I definitely expected a comedic element because of just like some of the promo material and stuff that I saw. But I definitely thought it was going to be a little bit lighter on the like, I don't know. It's just, I didn't expect it to be an action fighting movie. I thought it was going to be a little bit more, some of the stills that I saw was, early on in the movie, you kind of get this backstory, which is, again, you got to suspend your disbelief. They're not trying to, seal up any of the holes here. They show at the beginning basically how, Renfield met Dracula, which are essentially the events of the 1932, right? Dracula.
Yeah, 31, 32.
Movie. 31, 32 with Bela Lugosi, like, and Claude Rains. Is that who plays Renfield in the original one? No.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it was Claude Rains, right? Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's Claude Rains. Anyway, I was just listening to a podcast about the Wolfman, and Claude Rains is in that, but he plays John Talbot and whatever. In any case, so you get the backstory, and the backstory.
Oh, no. It's Dwight Fry.
Dwight Fry, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, I said that wasn't sitting right with me. But in any case, Dwight Fry, is fantastic in that one, and he plays that character literally so much so that they replicate a lot of the scenes and the lines shown in black and white with Nicholas Hoult as Renfield and Nicholas Cage as Dracula. And they recreate the, I never drink wine, all that stuff. Yeah. Which seeing Nic Cage do that is just tickled me. I loved it. I would watch a shot-for-shot remake of the original movie just with them, just like that in the first movie. And that was like, so I'm all excited about that. And then, and those are some of the stills and things that I saw. So I really expected it to be like this modernized Dracula take, but more from the perspective of Renfield. Yeah. The first movie is kind of from the perspective of Renfield for a portion of it, but then it just goes, bonkers, like hand-to-hand combat, almost superhero kung fu Deadpool type of thing. Yeah. Not without guns. There are guns, but like Renfield doesn't. So I did not. If you would have told me that Renfield was going to basically be a superhero, karate guy, I would have been like, what? That is not what I'm expecting. And that's really the bulk of the movie. Yeah. Renfield eats bugs, which this is a take on the established lore where Dracula gets, of course, his like power from, consuming, the life essence, if you will, in the form of their blood of people. And because Renfield has been turned into a familiar by drinking, Dracula's blood, he has a little bit of those powers, but he gets his, relatively small amount of power from eating bugs. And again, that's something that's established broadly in the original movie with the bug eating. And then, of course, a lot of people remember, Tom Waits doing that in Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves and all that. But in this instance, it basically turns him into like I said, a pseudo superhero.
Yeah, it gives him Captain America powers.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And it's just like, so Renfield's constantly fighting people and like doing karate and kicking somebody so all the blood and shit explodes out of their body. Like literally that is a thing that happens in this movie. And it's just not what I was expecting.
Right, no.
At all.
I think most people weren't expecting it. For some reason I was, just because I thought the director was Adam McKay. And then I did see somebody posted a clip of the hotel fight scene.
Okay.
Online, and then after I saw like a little bit of it, and I just saw like some of the gore that happens in that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn this off, but this is what I should expect. I should expect like goofiness.
And I might have liked it more if that was the case, but like I said, I was so tickled by Nicolas Cage as it, because in typical Nic Cage fashion, he chews the fucking scenery, spits it out, eats it again, chews it again. He's fantastic, over the top, exactly what you want with Nic Cage as Dracula.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, my two favorite scenes of him are like when we get first introduced to him in the modern era, and he's all fucking burned up and like walking with a cane and like gross and shit. That
his like face is hanging off and shit.
Yeah, that just rules so hard because he's so disgusting. But like you can still kind of tell it's Nic Cage under there, and then like he sets the tone pretty early that like he's a piece of shit. Like
he's a total fucking asshole, as Dracula would be in, if Dracula was a real character, So I love that he is this like manipulative, almost sadomasochist, super narcissistic piece of shit. And it's really played like a relationship drama kind of between him and Renfield, and he is the narcissist, and Renfield is the like codependent, victim in this situation. So much so that they actually weave in a big part of the story is Renfield going into this basically self-help group, almost feels like it would be an AA or NA group or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a self-help group around, dealing with the power dynamics in these like codependent relationships with like narcissistic partners and things like that. He is initially going there to scout food for Dracula, but then, starts to develop a relationship with the people in there. And you can kind of see where it goes from there. Again, this movie is like, it's hyper predictable. I do like that maybe the one thing that wasn't, and again, spoiler alerts here, but eventually, it starts, I should take a step back. It starts out with Dracula being severely fucked up by Van Helsing and, basically the church.
Was it Van Helsing or was it just like another, because they say they're the last of the vampire hunters and it's just like it's like a weird D&D party that shows up because they have the cleric, they have like the hunter.
Literally with the Pope, the pointy Pope hat and everything. Yeah. I don't know. I assumed it was a Van Helsing type character. Right. I don't know if they actually say Van Helsing, but they show him up and fuck him up. And, and just like always, Renfield is left there to pick up the pieces. So obviously in an emotional situation, this is an analogy taken quite literally where like he's burned beyond recognition and is basically a skeleton and takes years to replenish himself and build his strength back up. And Renfield is ultimately responsible for like hiding him away and, whatever. So at one point they go to, New Orleans and they're hiding, he's used to having a big castle and all this stuff, going back to whatever the late, at some point in the late 19th century, I guess. And then ultimately they end up in this like abandoned hospital where they're like setting up shop. So Nic Cage or so Dracula can build back up his strength and all this stuff. But ultimately the thing that I'll jump ahead a little bit because we're jumping around, but the part that I was like, oh, I'm glad that they did this was when Dracula did show up. This was kind of a climactic scene where Dracula shows up at the self-help group that's in like a dingy, YMCA gym kind of thing, folding chairs and donuts.
It's like at a church.
Oh, it is at a church. You're right. But he comes in and, he learns that, Renfield has betrayed him, whatever. And then he just slaughters all the people there.
Yeah.
And he does, like, you think he's gonna, but then you think maybe Renfield's going to save him. No, he literally just murders everybody. And then at the end, he brings them all back with Dracula's blood, apparently. And they are all just like, it almost is like Beer Fest when Landfill dies and they just bring the other Landfill back. But it's just, they've just brought them all back to life. And they're all just like, yeah, I guess we're alive now again. That's weird. We saw the other side. Like, what is the guy saying?
Oh, he's just some line. He's just going on about like, oh, we saw the other side, and that's something we can't unsee. And then
yeah, but he's still very like chipper about it.
Yeah,
it's a funny scene.
Yeah, it reminded me of there's a Whitest Kids sketch called The Nail Gun. And they kill their brother with the nail gun, but then bring him back from the other side, and he won't stop screaming about all the things he saw.
Yes. Oh, that show is fucking so underappreciated. Yeah. I used to watch that show like after class in college all the time. But yeah, so so they do go a little bit bonkers, with stuff now and again. But eventually, what happens is Dracula, has these aspirations to, take over the world. And he's just like, fuck it. This whole, hey, I'm this immortal, godlike being. And, I'm just basically going around setting up shop, then getting fucked up, then getting nursed back to health, and then it's just like this never ending cycle. So he decides he's going to, he just wants to bring an end to mankind, which is a pretty broad story for Dracula. That's not really that's an enormous jump. He went from this guy who lives up in the Carpathian Mountains and just like has to stow away on a ship to the New World to fucking Thanos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, and then it's at this point it turns into a full Marvel movie because he says he's going to do world domination and then has a world domination plan map. Like, and
that includes this like crime family apparently that's going to help him take over the world.
And the map is like drawn like a spider web. He took the time to draw it as a spider web. This movie's full of like goofy little details that feel, sometimes they feel out of place, but it also just kind of reminds you that like, don't take this movie seriously at all. No. One of them is like in the police station. There's a sign, or there's just lettering written on the back wall that says "Don't solve a crime until overtime." Like you're not allowed to do that. Like that's like police stations have been getting in trouble for doing that.
That's the one thing that they kind of they really hammer home to a cartoonish level is that, and we'll talk about Awkwafina, who plays the Officer Quincy. She's like a second generation cop. Her dad was like this really noble police officer or whatever in the same precinct or in the same city or whatever, and he is actually killed by the Lobos, the Lobo family. And then her sister is an FBI agent in the same city, so they're this law enforcement family. The entire precinct with zero exceptions really are all unapologetically crooked cops.
They're all on the take, and like they just joke about it, like they're not, they're pretty happy about it.
Well, but then she also calls them out constantly, and they're just like, "Whoa, take it easy."
And then he's getting Teddy Lobo's getting constantly arrested and getting away with those crimes, and like they're crimes you can't,
and then confessing to everything, but then they
One of my other favorite just small details is on Teddy Lobo's car. Is like, so like all of the Lobo's cars have like wolf badges and shit like that, just to let you know, like it's like a GTA game. Like, they're part of the Lobos.
And it's like so douchey the way they draw. Yes, it does feel like a It feels like a video game, actually.
But then on Teddy's, I think it's a Dodge Challenger, a new one, that he has the wolf badge, but it's doing a line of cocaine that goes down the side of the car.
I noticed the wolf badge, and then they drive his car later, but I didn't notice the line of cocaine.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until later when they pulled it up in daylight. But it's a wolf doing a line of cocaine down the side of the car. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's just like this over the top caricature of like a rich like it's a trope in like in
John Wick.
In action movies. Really,
I mean John Wick.
Yeah,
it's the basis of John Wick. John Wick kills the shithead son of the Russian mob boss. So
Yep. So and that's exactly where they're at here. Is he's kind of the main villain, but ultimately like his mother is. But then also there's like a very, I don't want to say supernatural, but everything, it feels like this whole thing is happening in Gotham or something like that, because they have these hitmen, that are like hired by the Lobo family. And at first, when you first start to realize that, the first scene you kind of really see Renfield is like this John Wick type kind of, is when they have this guy, and I don't even remember his name, but he looks like a Batman villain, basically, who is the hitman that's supposed to come in and kill these like small time crooks. So what basically happens is, Renfield is at the meeting, and there is a woman there that he is, developing some feelings for, or at least empathy for, who is talking about her piece of shit boyfriend. And he basically, tracks down where the boyfriend is, and he's going to go find the boyfriend. And he's trying to be a good guy, even though Dracula is like, no, I don't abide by the morality rules of society. I'm a fucking god. I determine what's right and wrong. Renfield wants to be a human and wants to live, in the human world and be a good person. So he thinks, at least, even though he is compelled, telepathically as well as like biologically, with the blood to serve Dracula, he is kind of like, well, at least I can go, at least feed him bad people that will help solve these people's problems in his mind. But eventually, Dracula basically says, like, he doesn't want to eat these bad people because they provide him less sustenance than he specifically requests like nuns or a bus full of cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Like, he specifically requests these things.
Yeah, it's because like the guys Renfield's trying to feed him are all coked up and shit.
Yeah, they're all like psycho pieces of shit. Yeah,
and so like that Batman villain is the hitman sent to kill those guys, and that Batman villain, I believe his name was like Apache Joe or some shit, because the joke is
bench,
and this had to be Ben Schwartz improvising.
Oh, this is 100% Ben Schwartz improvising or writing this part. Yeah,
because Apache Joe, like Ben Schwartz brings Apache Joe to kill these guys, and he's on the phone with somebody else,
one of his lackeys or whatever,
or his mom, somebody.
something.
And he's just on the phone, and he's just like, well, his name's Apache Joe. I know it's racist, but I'm not gonna tell him to change it because he cuts people's tongues out.
Yeah, he's like, he's the guy who cuts people's tongues out. You think I'm going to tell him that his name's pretty racist?
Yeah. Like, do you think that has an effect on him? He wears an executioner's hood to go kill coke dealers. Like,
so it's like I said, there's a lot of good gags. But what I found about the movie that I like was when. Really, the three things I like about the movie the most are Nic Cage, Ben Schwartz, and Awkwafina. Those are the three things that I like. And without them, this movie would be dog shit.
Yeah, this movie would be pretty bad if it weren't for the cast. I think everybody does a pretty good job. The only thing I don't like about Nicholas Hoult is that he doesn't do the laugh.
No, I didn't. I actually was just about to say that's why I didn't include him in there. I think he could have done so much more with this role. He was too. Maybe it was the way the character was written. Maybe it's the way he acted it. But it was really all about, look at me. I'm kind of cute and creepy.
Right.
Like, I felt like I've never seen Warm Bodies. I know it's like a zombie romance. It's a what do they call it? Zomcom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that is what that movie is. And I'm imagining he plays a very similar character in that, but instead of having a cute little British accent and being a little like weird John Wick twink, he is probably just like a dumb, cute zombie. So like he's a very like handsome dude, kind of boyish, good looks. And it's just like that is he plays this like a meek character that is being bullied by Dracula. And then when he has to, drinks the Hulk juice and just starts raging on people.
Yeah, I just would have liked it more if he did have like this really weird social interaction with like Awkwafina.
Yeah, I wanted him to be unhinged.
Yeah,
but instead he's just like cute. He's like cutesy.
Yeah, like he does the laugh a little bit in once, but it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't hit the same way. Yeah, I was watching. I actually watched Dracula Dead and Loving It earlier this week.
Oh, dude, that's such a stupid and awesome movie. I love it.
Peter McNichol hits everything that Dwight Fry did with like the crazed face mannerisms,
the wide eyes.
Yeah, the wide eyes. And he does the laugh perfectly of like, he's like creeping in, I think it's Lucy's bedroom. And he peers under her cover, and he's like, it's just like he hits it. So yeah, I just wish there was a little bit more of that, of like, Nicholas Hoult having like a real trouble connecting with, real people. But they kind of play it off, like if he laughed weird and then Awkwafina was like, that's a weird laugh you got there, bud.
Yeah. No, instead he's just like, oh, he kind of dresses old timey.
Right.
Like that's pretty much it. And he has a British accent. Like it's just, I would have liked to have be a more dynamic, kind of unhinged character instead of like trying to play it kind of as cute and heartthrobby even. Because the one thing I really loved about the love story was, again, it was not him. It was Awkwafina, because she plays a very non-traditional love interest. Not only is she a cop, but she doesn't play anything. They never have that point where she takes her glasses off and she's gorgeous. You know,
Right.
she never has that kind of like, the whole time she was just a real pretty, feminine girl that just wanted to be a princess. Like they never do that. She's very rough around the edges, like very direct, very like very low emotion. And she is never trying to look attractive. She is like hunched over, her posture, and she's always very funny and silly. And like I said, she never takes that dive into, well, now I've got to be stereotypical, you know, pretty girl underneath the whole time. You know
right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? She's not trying to be attractive to him. And I like that about the character.
Right. And not just be attractive to him, but like it's never played as like she's trying to be attractive to like in a Hollywood standard. She's
right. And that's what I mean. Yeah.
She is just her. And like, but like you still like her though, you know, as an audience member, because like
she's very endearing.
Yeah. It's just,
and she's an attractive person, but she's almost like she's going out of way to make herself the antithesis of that classic Hollywood physical attractiveness.
Right. And the other, and just, you know, something that goes hand in hand with that is like, she also never falls into the damsel role.
No.
So like, you know, she's like, yeah, she goes into trouble. Okay. She's in trouble, but then she'll also try to get herself out. It's never like she needs Renfield. It's much more like she has a gun and he has superpowers, and they work together that way.
Yeah, she gets into like precarious situations and then he gets her out, and vice versa a little bit. But like, you know, her number one priority is never really him either. Mm-hmm. It's like her family kind of thing, until maybe a little bit to the end. And it just like, I don't know, she just felt like a much more dynamic character than even the script called for. Yeah. Like, I don't know if that was her or if that was directing or whatever, but like she was a more dynamic character than felt like it belonged in the movie, and he was not. Yeah,
I think they spent too much, and I don't know if it was the directing or the script or what, but it definitely felt more like they were really trying to make him endearing and sympathetic by shaving off all his weird edges.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Everything felt very smoothed out because if you even explain the character on the surface, he's a fucking monster. Right. You know what I mean? Renfield is a fucking monster. And yes, he's also a victim of Dracula, sure. But I feel like maybe I don't know if they cut things out or they were worried about it and it bled into the directing style. But it did feel like, they were trying to make it feel like he wasn't responsible for doing all the awful things he was doing. But even when they do that scene where she gets shot or injured or whatever, and then he takes her back to his apartment, she's even like, no, you're a murderer. And he's just like, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Let's move past that. You know.
Yeah, let's breeze past. Don't think about that too much. Yeah, because she points out, she's like, you're not a good guy or a bad guy. You're just like, you're just a murderer. You're just, you don't fucking like, you not that he doesn't have a conscience, but it's just like, what do you really serve to this world of like being, being a,
you're just like an ineffectual pawn kind of thing. Yeah.
What do you serve to the world by, just being a slave that kills,
Getting back to the high point of the movie, which is Nic Cage. He, the teeth that they used in this were basically it is the style of vampire teeth that you would see in, oh my God.
30 Days of Night.
What is the one? 30 Days of Night. I was going to say 28 Days Later. 30 Days of Night. It's that style of like jagged, long, sharp teeth that it looks great, but you could tell the mouthpiece or whatever the prosthetics he was using didn't fit his mouth really well. Like they wanted to fall out, but he was doing the best he could with it.
Yeah, his top lip is always drawn back.
It's always, he always looks like that dumb thing like when a dog's lip gets pulled back. That's kind of what it looks like, but it detracted a little bit, but it could have been way worse. But he just, he puts so much physicality. And also I should specify, he's doing a pseudo version of the voice from Vampire's Kiss.
Oh, for sure. It definitely, like, there are times when he goes over the top that is just like, oh, that's Vampire's Kiss right there. And I think,
which is, I
was going to say, it's in my second favorite scene of him is when Nicholas Hoult comes home. And he's sitting at the table with the blood martini with the eyeballs in it.
It's got like eyeballs in it. It's so good. And that's the fucking, it's so great.
But like, there are a lot of times in that exchange, like that he goes real high and he's like, you were trying to kill me.
Yeah, he's going so over the top about it. That's such those are all the best scenes in the movies. Just Nic Cage doing these monologues as Dracula, just being so over the top. But the thing is that I love is the consistency, because he was kind of talking in the same way when he was fucking in shambles still, like physically still recovering, but he just didn't have quite enough energy. Now he's full energy, feeling himself, and he's just laying it all out there and just being this like over the top like chewing the scenery character. And again, he's just got this blood martini with eyeballs floating and he's just stirring them around and just like chewing the scenery. It's so much fun.
He's the greatest part. And then, like you're already mentioning, just that progression from, fucking busted up, gross skin monster to like where he ends, where he ends the film is, it's fantastic. But
he's a great fucking vampire. Nic Cage just plays an amazing vampire.
But just one more thing I just kind of wanted to bring up is like this movie moves really fast.
It does. It's tight. Yeah. It goes by fast. It doesn't drag an inch.
Yeah. I think it might go a little too fast at some points. Like some things got skipped over, but like
a lot felt like it got cut out. But you definitely are never like looking at your watch.
That never happens. There is one point though that just like it stuck out to me because I feel like I missed something. It had to be because there wasn't enough in there, but it's during that hotel fight scene. And you have Bella Francesca and the police chief, and they're watching on the monitors, and they're watching with two other people. And like, I know one of them's the IT guy, and then there's just a woman there, and I don't know what her role is. But at one point, Renfield like rips off the arms and rips off the face of somebody, and they cut back to that room, and everybody's upset except for this one woman who's never been introduced, and she's full on clapping like. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
That got left in there and it didn't need to.
Yeah.
Like you could tell there might be a little bit more. Like she probably had a setup scene for that clapping gag that got cut out.
Yeah. But it's such a weird thing that just stood out to me. I was like, why is she so happy? Who is this woman? She's just really into the violence.
She just thought it was awesome. Yeah. They the one other thing I really liked about this movie overall, I should say, is like even with the way it's shot like an action movie, right? We talk about that. It is it's really lit well. Yeah. Like there's kind of a weird juxtaposition because the production value and the cast are fantastic, but the script sucks dick. It's like, why did you do that? You had this star-studded cast and everyone is good. Even, I feel like I'm giving like Nicholas Hoult like a little bit of shit, and it's mostly just because I think his character is a little bit one-dimensional, but he's the star of the show and they want him to be likable and the protagonist in this more like classic kind of action movie, but like he's good overall. But the cast overall is fucking great. It's shot super well. It's edited crazy tight, maybe a little bit too much so, like you said. But then they didn't spend any money on any practical effects, really.
Yeah.
And the script is fucking just unapologetically bad.
So I'm just kind of looking at like the writers to see kind of where this might stem from. And So apparently it's based on the original idea by Robert Kirkman, who he's been
Walking Dead Robert Kirkman.
Yeah. Walking Dead. And then also he's written another show called Invincible. Like he wrote the comic book, but also like he wrote the show. And then the screenplay was more fleshed out by Ryan Ridley, who has been most prominently known for Rick and Morty, but like it seems like he's been working with Dan Harmon for a long time because he also wrote a bunch of Community episodes. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of like,
I mean, it all makes sense why this would feel, quite cartoonish.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is just like it's just two writers being very connected to doing cartoony comic booky things. Which is, again, if the idea was originally by Robert Kirkman, then he probably had some, bastardized idea of doing a comic book of this, and like Invincible is very much the same way of like, what if Superman was super violent?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It just, I would have maybe liked it to maybe go maybe less Invincible, more The Boys, and a little grittier or whatever. Like I wanted to have, some, I love the humor in it. I mean, like I said, the humor is one of the best parts. Like there's multiple exceptional comedic actors in this. It felt like, maybe I watch it again and we'll love it. I don't know, but it just felt like a little bit was left on the table here. But I just saw a picture here of the the wolf doing the line of coke on the side of the car. Overall, maybe I'm being a little too harsh because it is a really fun movie. It just went in a different direction than I expected, but it is absolutely fun. The one big, honestly, the scene that probably took it down. Like if I put this movie at it's a 7. It's really fun, solid movie. Maybe it's 6.5 or a 7 in my mind. The thing that took it from a 7.5, 8 down to a 6.5, 7 for me was that fucking fight scene in the apartment complex.
Really?
Yeah, it just was so fucking dumb and bad and not. It could have been so cool, but instead they tried to give it a little bit of like an action movie shootout feel to it. But then with Renfield being the the Neo or the John Wick character, and he's ripping people's arms off. He's doing this thing that horror fans love, that I love, where you do over the top insane stuff that you're like, you guys are dumb for doing this and I love it. But it's not executed well.
Really?
The blood looked so dumb. The blood looked like big balloons of big chunky. It's like if the whole thing was happening in an aquarium and the blood was in giant balloons filled with water or something. You know what I mean?
I feel like I kind of actually like the blood stylistically because of that. Because I don't know, especially you go right back to the episode we watched Murderbot, and it's so obvious, like the CGI blood in that is just like some stock effect that everybody used. It was just like that same spray you always see. It really feels like they tried to make like a stylistic choice of like, let's make the blood in this look like fucking gallons of paint being thrown around.
It looked like Mortal Kombat blood.
Yeah.
Like the original Sega or arcade version of Mortal Kombat, where you punch somebody and it's like a giant sheet of blood almost pops out of them. And it's like, that's not how liquid acts.
No.
It looked more like it was like some sort of giant, like I said, amalgamation of like weird putty or something coming out of them. It just didn't even look even remotely like blood.
If mud was red.
Yeah, but like almost a diluted clay or something. Like it was so thick and chunky and like kept in this kind of amalgamous form. It looked really bad. And then, yeah, they did some fun stuff with like, hey, he's going to like rip somebody's arms off and then throw the arm and stick it through somebody's chest. Like, you write that on paper, I'm like, oh, sick. Yeah, right. Do it. But then it was just executed bad, I thought. I
don't know. I kind of liked it. I like the face rip.
The face rip was fun. Yeah. It felt like it was not executed with love. Like, that sounds so stupid, but like it was quick and dirty, from a CGI perspective.
There was one part. I don't know. Did you stay through all the credits?
No, it was like 11 o'clock. I had to get up early next day. Like, yeah, it was a late show. I bailed when the credits came
fair
on.
Enough. So there was something in the credits that I'm kind of upset that got left out. And was part of that hotel scene is it looks like they had a practical degloving effect. Okay. And they had Renfield rip this, degloving is when you rip the skin off a hand for the audience at home. Yeah. But it looks like he degloved a cop and then threw the hand skin right back in his face, and it's a latex prosthetic and hits him in the face. Yeah. And I was like, oh, why'd you leave that on the cutting room floor for the credits? That's fucking great.
That's the exact type of thing that I think would have been a little bit more endearing for me. Like I said, I think honestly a lot of my issues with the movie, which again totally fun, I may watch it again, I may not, but the thing that I did really like about it is it didn't take itself too seriously. It was just wacky fun, but I wanted it to be a little bit more, not even gritty. Like, I don't know. I just wanted it to like take a little bit more pride in what it was doing. And maybe that is unreasonable expectation. I mean, you look at the cast, like it is, like I said, it's got big name people in it. It's like kind of a spring release. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess that's not what they want. That's not the target audience. The target audience, like maybe the target audience for this movie is not necessarily the target audience for like Malignant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's maybe like kind of, not that I wanted it to be that. It's a very different tone. This was much more fun, but not more fun, funny. I guess I just wanted it to not be a superhero movie.
You just didn't want a superhero movie. Because, I mean, again, you mentioned that, like, all the lighting in this is really great. I think probably my favorite set piece is the hospital set piece, where, like, everything is green except for that big red light that lights up all the blood bags. That's great production design.
A great fucking, I mean, that whole set piece is so cool. Even, and then like the scene when the Lobos walk in and it's Ben Schwartz and he's just like, what the fuck? He's saying what you would be thinking as the audience if you walked into that is great. And there was actually a really great one after like he beats the shit out of Ben Schwartz, whatever. He like wakes up and he's basically Dracula's, about to propose his like partnership plan to him. And he goes, are you going to fuck me up?
He's still scared of like, he's not sure what's about to happen.
He's like, cool, man. Great. Are you going to fuck me up or
are we friends? Or are you going to fuck me up? Well, I don't. Are we good?
Yeah. Totally fun. I would absolutely go, I urge anybody to go watch this movie. Just, I think it's one of those things where maybe my expectations were a little twisted, and then that's maybe why I didn't walk out just loving it, but it was really fun. And
I'm kind of with you because I wish at the very end, at the final showdown, they try to get a little more horror elementy with it, but they still, I don't know though, they still just don't execute it completely well. But I wish there was just like, when it was time to get down to business, let's make it a full horror movie, like make it scary, but it never approaches that.
It felt like that like Dragon Ball Z-ish type of like trope where like a person is always, it's just constantly being surprised by how powerful somebody is. Yeah. That's the whole, all of Dragon Ball is like, this guy's really powerful. No, this guy's really powerful. Wait, the first guy's even more powerful than we thought.
The first guy got madder.
he screamed louder. And that's kind of what this is, but just with eating bugs. Like, why does he have just this little tiny, why doesn't he just like walk around with just bags of like giant Texas fucking grasshoppers and just munch them and rip people's arms off all day every day? Like, why are you just like, the one thing between him achieving everything he wants and killing whoever he needs to and saving whoever he wants to is just eating more bigger bugs? Like, that's a great example of what I mean. Is like, the script is unapologetically dog shit, but it's not about that. I get it, but And
that's what makes it a Marvel movie, because Marvel movies are full of fucking logic holes like that just don't make any sense. You're not supposed to think about that. You're supposed to get to A to B and go, yay, I had a good time.
Yeah, that was fun. He punched him. He punched him. I get it. I think if I walked in expecting that, I would have liked it more. And I just, like I said, I had a completely different set of thoughts about what it was going to be. But
also,
in any case,
just final shout out to Teddy Lobo snorting the centipede. That's so fucking great.
That was a great example of when I was like, I was just like, I get it. You're mean now. You're a powerful, mean guy now. And I did, and that, again, kudos to Ben Schwartz for not short sticking any dumb thing he had to say or do. He played it 100% honest. But like, when there's a giant centipede and he snorts it, because like, now he's the new Renfield and he gonna eat the bugs and that's gonna make him the powerful Renfield. I get it, but it's the CGI is so fucking dumb.
The CGI was bad. I don't care about that. I just like the image of him snorting the centipede,
him snorting a giant centipede,
and then just like, I think the line he delivers with that is like, things seem a little too familiar.
It's a totally dumb, over the top, intentional line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, definitely go see it. I think the thing I love the most about this movie is that it was made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. I really think it's fun that this movie got made and it got we live in a time where this movie can be made and it's not surprising, and I can go see it at theater on a Tuesday night at a freaking AMC.
Right.
You
don't have to go searching weird back alleys or getting DVDs and fucking shit like that.
Yeah, I don't have to give three guys an HJ and wait in a dark alley to get a Betamax of this. Like, I literally just went to the AMC. There were like 3 showings that night of it. I thought that's cool. But
So one last thing I wanted to ask you about. Obviously, if you saw this movie, then you probably saw the trailer for the Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that right now?
I still am feeling fairly optimistic about the movie. I did not love the trailer.
Right.
They made the trailer look more action-y and more like a dire type. It looked like it was less monster movie, more The Perfect Storm, or something like that. It just, they tried to make it seem like this, like, more dire, overly stylized, like, period piece.
Yeah.
And they also like tried to create this like almost heroic action movie feel to it, where people were like dropping one-liners and shit. And I was like, ooh, I really hope this was just going to be a creepy, slow burn Dracula on a boat. And they made it seem like it was going to be a more of an action movie. Speaking of Van Helsing, I felt like it had more in common with the
Hugh Jackman,
Hugh Jackman Van Helsing than it did with the movie I was hoping that it was going to be.
I was pretty turned off really quick because I was like, oh, there's a kid and the dog, and it's like, oh no, they're in peril. And then the fucking the use of Smashing Pumpkins in 2023 to do the world is a vampire thing. Ugh.
Barf 1,000 times. And also they kept using the line. It wasn't just like a low droning, it was a version of Rat in a Cage, but then they kept hitting on the line that you say that you're like, oh, that's a little on the nose. They kept saying it.
Why do you keep doing this?
Yeah, that thing of like where they go, well, this is like, I'm trying to think of an example of where you say that, that almost Disney-ish trope of where you say the name of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the movie, I felt like they were gonna start doing that over and over. It's like, well, I hope this isn't the last voyage of the Demeter. And then it's like, it's the Who jumps in or whatever, but it's the world is a vampire, and then they try to make it like super gothic and creepy. And I don't know, I hope they put that trailer together to attract the audience they thought was going to show up for this movie. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, hopefully. I would appreciate like a slow burn murder mystery. I think I said that in a previous episode. But like it seems like they just gave away too much. They gave away the fact that Dracula is the giant bat version, which is cool. I like that. But like, why give it away?
That. Why'd you show it? Don't show it. I did not like. Like I said, I'll still go see the movie, but the trailer didn't do it any favors.
Didn't do anything good for you. Yeah, I just wondered because I know it didn't do anything for me. I was like, I wonder if Brian got mad at this.
and then there was also like there was another trailer for like some sort of like other big budget kind of horror movie. Oh, it's the freaking adaptation we talked about of Boogeyman.
Yeah, that didn't look good either.
Yeah, that looked like poop. Yep. That looked like real poop. But anyway, I hope not. I hope that was just that was the, like I said, the trailers should hope, a lot of times you'll see the trailers are obviously, how they come across is symptomatic of, the movie you're going to see. Obviously they now it's like trailer heavy culture. There's like 9 trailers for every movie and they all have very different feels.
Yeah. So, they're all designed to trick a certain section of the audience.
Yeah. I will say though, and listen, guys, here's get ready to put your surprised face on. I was baked when I went to this movie. Okay. I was pissing myself laughing at the trailer for Fast and Furious X or whatever. God. Fast and Furious 10. Holy shit. Was that a funny trailer? It was over. Like, I think the last one I saw was literally the second Fast and the Furious movie.
You're missing so much good fucking dumb shit.
I think honestly, the last one I saw was the second one. So when was that? Was 15 fucking years ago or whenever. So I know almost nothing about this franchise after probably the second one.
Yeah.
And it has gotten so, I'm going to say bloated.
Oh yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. Jason Momoa, which I don't mind as an actor, I guess. I think I don't mind him. I might hate him now. I don't know. I've never seen Aquaman. I've never seen any of that shit. I saw him in some movie my kids wanted to see where he plays like some sort of fucking dream demon or something. I forget what the fuck movie it was.
Couldn't tell you.
It was terrible. I'm starting to think I hate Jason Momoa, but his character in that movie felt like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Yeah. Like I couldn't believe it was real. I was just stoned enough where like a small part of my brain was like, is this a parody of what this movie's actually going to be?
No.
And then it was like, no, this is 100% earnest, and I can't believe it exists.
Yeah. That's the best part of the Fast and Furious series is because everybody plays everything serious. I think with the exception of Tyrese and Ludacris, they are like they are the comic relief that is also the audience stand-in. Like they're breaking the fourth wall a lot of the time. But like everybody else plays everything seriously. Like John Cena is deadly serious a lot of the time, and it's so ridiculous.
just learned John Cena's in the series.
John Cena,
because they did. Since when? Like
either 8 or 9, he was introduced.
How can you have this many action people in the movie and make it make sense? And it doesn't feel like, not replaceables.
The Expendables.
Jesus, what is the Expendables? The Expendables is like a parody of an 80s action movie, right? This has that type of cast. Wait, and this is an honest question.
Sure.
The Rock's not in Fast and the Furious, is he?
He was.
He's in the... Okay. Yeah. So I can't imagine who's not in it. Like, it's almost more valuable to talk about who's not in it.
No, it's more... Yeah, you have to ask who's not in it. And basically, everybody is in it at some point.
But are they all playing very similar characters?
More or less.
Like, The Rock... Vin Diesel, Jason Momoa, like all these guys can't be playing characters that are that different.
They're not. They're all just beefcake.
John Cena. How can you have that much beef in the movie and then they're still distinguishable characters? So, they're all obviously very recognizable faces.
Right.
Like, of course, I'm not going to confuse John Cena with fucking. Oh my god! And Jason Statham's in. I just remembered. This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
I like I said, it is a mystery to me. I'm not like trying to be like cool guy. I don't watch mainstream movies. Like I absolutely do. This is a franchise that I've intentionally avoided because of how dumb it looks.
Yeah.
I think the first time I saw one of the movies like where a guy jumps a car into a helicopter, I was like, I think it's not jumped the shark. Like it is jumped over the shark, took a shit on the shark, ground the shark up, set it on fire, and I'm just like, I'm good. I get it. But the fact that they're still churning them out and they are still getting that, like, at what point does it become Fast and Furious Part 14 presented by Under Armour and Burger King? Like it is just literally a parody of itself and also like almost insulting to its audience.
So I think and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels like they came back with 4 and 4 was like a gritty reboot. Mm-hmm. But then 5 was fucking bonkers. And I think 5 might still be my favorite because it just toes the line. Yeah, of being too much. But then
wasn't there a space one? It was like Leprechaun in space version.
They went to space, but it was just like a short trip. It wasn't like they did everything in space.
I could sit here all day and listen to you like pseudo apologize for this franchise. Yeah. You're like kind of trying to rationalize. They didn't go to space. They took a very short trip to space. But Steve, and I'm going to ask you this question, and I need a fucking straight answer from you. Did they take a car in space?
They took a car in space.
See, what the how? How is that? How can you do that and still take yourself as a franchise seriously?
But that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get to is I feel like there's a dichotomy in the audience of like there is a lot of people who take it very seriously and they're like car head, like juice bros. Like a lot of people who drink Bang Energy. Yeah. And so like that's why Vin Diesel and John Cena and like they play their roles seriously. Mm-hmm. So for those people, it feels good to them. Yeah. But then there's people like me who knows how fucking stupid this all is. Yeah. But I just like seeing the stupid. I just like stupid.
I can appreciate the stupid. Yeah. I mean, you know me, I watch the dumbest shit in the world. I'm not confused by like people liking it because of how outlandish and stupid it is. Mm-hmm. I'm confused about how they have, 1, the balls, and 2, the audience to take it seriously. Yeah. Like there are people out there who are watching this with their flat brim Monster Energy drink hat on going, oh, fuck, that's sick.
Right.
That ruled.
Yeah, that's ruled. Those chicks are so hot. Like every movie.
Those boobs are so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just am. It's just a wild. Like I know I sound like some sort of like elitist dipshit here. It's
Right.
like, you watch big, that's not what I'm trying to do, because I have not seen the last 8.
Yeah, I know.
Of
Yeah,
the
I know.
movies.
I know you're trying to not sound elitist. You still kind of do, but
Yeah.
My suggestion
I
is
do a little bit.
my suggestion is like you can jump back into 4
Mhm.
and then just follow it, and just and I'll tell you, apparently they're ending the series at 11.
Oh,
So,
but that's surprising. Is it because everyone's getting so old?
yeah,
Okay. I was gonna say, because they're obviously still fucking making money.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I suggest if you want high watches, they're definitely high watches. So you just get fucking blazed and just, again, I'll warn you, 4 is kind of a gritty action film in comparison to the rest of the series. But like by 7, when Vin Diesel and Jason Statham are fighting with giant wrenches, you'll be all in.
Giant wrenches.
Absolutely
All
giant
right.
wrenches.
Oh, damn it. All right. So I guess I just need to watch this franchise.
Yeah.
I just need to put some hours in here.
Yeah.
So
It's either 6 or 7. The Rock has a minigun.
damn it.
Yeah.
I love The Rock. All right. I'll have to ease myself into this here. I got to take my fucking my Coastal Elite fucking hat off here. Meanwhile, I live on the Ohio border. But yeah, like I need to stop. I need to pump the brakes here, maybe, and watch a couple of these movies, and maybe I'll be the biggest fucking fan, and I'll be there on opening night.
It's a real frog in a boiling pot type of situation of like, again, 4 will kind of like get you. You're like, oh, that's kind of a cool action car film. And then 5 it'll really start ramping up. And then by 6, The Rock comes in, and then 7 is the wrench fight, and 8 is the submarine fight, and 9 they go into space.
Submarine fight.
And 10 is what the fuck.
I'm imagining them sword fighting with submarines.
Yeah, sure.
Though. Like they're not in submarines. They're using them like lightsabers, but they're submarines. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, guys. We got off on a little fast and furious tangent there, but let's recap here what y'all need to go out there and check out this week if you want to follow along for the Showdown episode for May. Once again, the topic is Before They Were Stars. You get to watch your buddy Justin Long in Jeepers Creepers from 2001. Bigfoot Ben's going to be our guest host defending that movie on Meg's behalf, and then I'm going to be talking about Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995 with one Mr. Paul Rudd, and then Steve, just goddamn another hunk here with Bradley Cooper in 2008's The Midnight Meat Train. So go check those fucking things out. And as always, like I said, follow us on the social medias. And if you want to give us one of them old reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, shoot us a DM. Say, hey, I just reviewed you. Or screenshot and send it. Whatever you want to do. I'll believe you if you say it. Send it our way in the old DMs on Instagram, and I'll send you some fucking stickers. Halloween is forever. Stickers in the mail. And maybe I'll throw in an atomic warhead or something. I've been known to do that from time to time. All right. Anything else, Steve? Anything else we're forgetting?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Join us next week for that motherfucking May Showdown, guys. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Steve, still champ.
Steve's still champ. Meg's not here. What the fuck is the world coming to? See you
Fast
later.
and the Furious is funny.
Bye. Bye.